Watch your back, MJ, because NASCAR's newest team owner has worldwide appeal. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. Wow, we have a lot to get to today. The first thing I saw when I woke up this morning was Alex Bowman's all-new Ally 48 paint scheme. It looks beautiful. We'll talk about it in just a moment. I thought that was going to be the biggest story of the day. How wrong, how naive I was. This is NASCAR in the 2020s decade. Every bit of NASCAR news seems to be bigger than the last. NASCAR is adding another celebrity team owner to its lineup. We'll talk about that. And NASCAR is going Hollywood. They've teamed up with Netflix for an all-new comedy. We'll talk a little bit about the teaser trailer that was released today. So we've got a lot of things to talk about. It's going to be a bit of a different Out of the Groove than we're used to, but I'm going to start with paint schemes. That's where we left off yesterday. Yesterday's video, if you missed it, was all about a ton of paint scheme reveals. William Byron and Exalta revealed his all-new 24 paint scheme. DoorDash and Bubba Wallace revealed the first 2311 paint scheme. It looks good as well. We talked all about paint schemes yesterday, so let's start today's episode off the same way while we're thinking about it. So this morning, Ally, Hendrick Motorsports officially revealed Alex Bowman's all-new 48 paint scheme for 2021. And what do you know? It is a purple base car. Remember last week there were some photos circulating around, some kind of blurry photos of what appeared to be leaked images of the paint scheme. You know, the car was out in the distance, so we didn't have a great quality shot of it. We couldn't really see all the details. But in the photos, it looked to me at least like the car was going to be purple. Like, you know, the last 2 years, Jimmy Johnson's Ally cars have mostly been black, or this year they were white and silver for that one race. But it looked like in those leaked images from last week that this car might be purple, and that had me really excited. I am so happy to see the car in all of its glory. It is purple and it's glorious. This is fantastic. This is an early contender for paint scheme of the year. I can't say much bad about this paint scheme. I know you guys think I'm always just super duper positive. I mean, I can be negative about paint schemes. I was yesterday about the Speedy Cash car. This one, really, words do not describe it. We have a contender for paint scheme of the year, and it's not even Daytona yet. So congratulations, Hendrick and Ally. You guys released a banger right here. It's noticeably different from the last 2 years of Jimmy Johnson schemes. One, because it is purple and not black. Also, there's not nearly as much neon yellow. The neon yellow was always, kind of Jimmy Johnson, or really just a Hendrick thing in general. Jeff Gordon had neon yellow numbers. Jimmy Johnson had the neon yellow 48. You get a little bit of that neon there on the front of the car, which I do think is a little bit weird that it's only there and at that part of the car. That does seem a little weird to me. I guess if I have to say anything bad about it, that's it. The big change here for Bowman is that instead of neon yellow, it's sort of this kind of greenish blue accent, if you will. It's most obvious there on the side of the car. Also, the name rail has it. That's cool. I love it. Some people didn't like it. I saw some people on Twitter thought it was out of place and dumb, but no, I love it. It works so well, and it makes this car feel distinctly Alex Bowman. He has to establish his own legacy at some point. He can't keep mooching off of the 88 legacy that Dale Jr. created. He can't expect to ride on the 48 legacy Jimmy Johnson created. He has to create a legacy, a name, a brand, a look for himself, and this is a step towards doing that. This Ally scheme looks almost nothing like the Jimmy Johnson schemes from the last 2 years, other than I guess the hood design, where it's still the echo effect is kind of still there, which some people like, some people dislike. I've always liked it okay. This paint scheme looks absolutely gorgeous. I can't say enough good things about it. I just love the purple base. I know it does gradient a little bit, and the rear of the car is more black than anything. I do see that. It's not all purple, but it's very purple, and I love that so much. So I'm very excited to see this car on the track this season. I'm hyped. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. How does this scheme compare to Jimmy Johnson's paint schemes from the last 2 seasons? This is easily better than Johnson's 2019 car. I think this is better than maybe all of his 2020 cars as well. I mean, I liked the chrome, the silver he ran at Phoenix, but the design, the bluish green little highlights, it looks so retro. I love it. This is fantastic. All right, enough drooling over paint schemes. We've done way too much of that this week. We've got to talk substance now. Let's first talk about Netflix briefly, because the other thing I saw this morning when I rolled out of bed was a trailer for a new Kevin James Netflix show about NASCAR. Something we've heard about, we knew was in the works for a number of months at this point, but now we finally see a trailer. The Crew, starring Kevin James, a Netflix original series, will premiere this year, February 15th, the day after the Daytona 500. You can check out the trailer for yourself. It looks like a well-made show. Kevin James is a very established comedy actor. He's been around NASCAR before. We've seen him at the track before, so I think he's at least somewhat familiar with the source material. I do think it's interesting looking at some of the trailer that the NASCAR logo and license and everything is prominently displayed, so it's clear NASCAR gave their blessing to Netflix when they decided to create this show. I will say, after watching the trailer, it's not really my type of show. I mean, I might watch watch an episode or two just to see what goes on in it. But, it's a campy multicam, sitcom with, a laugh track and everything. That's just not really my speed. I have a feeling this show is targeting the 30, 40-year-old and older demographic more than anything. I do not anticipate many kids watching this show. It's not played as a kid show from what I can tell. It seems like a family or maybe an adult show. I'm not really sure. It doesn't look like iCarly or Zack and Cody or whatever kids watch these days, the equivalent of that. I don't know. It doesn't look like a kid show, but kids might watch it. But I think it's targeting an older demographic, which is fine. You obviously can't forget about the older demographic. As important as it is that NASCAR continue to reach out to younger potential fans, you obviously can't lose track of your existing fans who may be a little bit older, who might be more interested in a Kevin James NASCAR themed sitcom. But it looks well made. I'll give it a chance. I'll watch a couple episodes, but I don't get the impression that I'm in its target demographic. I love that NASCAR and Netflix are teaming up for something. I wish we could get something a bit more dramatic, something that's closer to, I know a lot of F1 fans love the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. And yes, it is very well put together, very well made. It'd be great if NASCAR could get something similar to that, but that's not what this is. This may be fun, this may be good, but that's not what this is. And hopefully we can get something closer to that down the line. I like that NASCAR and Netflix are working together. Hopefully this show is deemed successful by Netflix. Now we have to talk about the most surprising announcement of the day, probably the most surprising NASCAR announcement of 2021 so far. And it's not going to be an easy announcement to beat. Another celebrity is entering into the NASCAR fold as a team owner. It's not Floyd Mayweather, no. At least not yet. No, we're talking about PITBULL. The rapper PITBULL, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide, the one and only PITBULL. Trackhouse Racing announced today that PITBULL has invested in the team. He will become a co-owner of the all-new NASCAR organization. Trackhouse, as well as team founder Justin Marks, released a short video today. Of course, Trackhouse is a brand new NASCAR Cup Series team set to race full-time this year. They have a technical alliance with Richard Childress Racing. Daniel Suarez will be their first ever driver. And now they've added worldwide music sensation PITBULL into the fold. I think this is extremely exciting. We'll talk about why. But first, PITBULL himself put out a statement today. He says, "I've been a fan of the NASCAR story since the movie Days of Thunder. Now I'm an official co-owner of the Trackhouse Racing team. Thank you, Justin Marks, Ty Norris, and Daniel Suarez for the great opportunity. This is a great way to celebrate my 40th birthday, so get ready. Dale." He always has to throw in that obligatory Dale at the end of anything. That's like his signature. I think that's how he signs off his emails, But no, this is happening. This is not a prank. PITBULL is now a NASCAR team co-owner. It feels like it's kind of out of nowhere, but not really. I mean, we saw PITBULL at a NASCAR race last year in the Spring Phoenix race in March, the last race before the pandemic. PITBULL was there with Blake Shelton filming a music video. I was there. I didn't expect to see them, but there I was. There they were in front of me. They're dancing, singing. They were filming a music video. It was crazy. And NASCAR ended up using parts of that music video shoot for their Phoenix Championship weekend promotion later in the year. So PITBULL has been at least somewhat involved with NASCAR in the last year or so. But I don't think anyone expected him to step up as a NASCAR team co-owner, I guess. But if he was going to team up with anyone, it does make sense he'd team up with a new team like Trackhouse Racing and with Daniel Suarez as their driver. Remember, Justin Marks said when the team was first announced that they were going to focus on STEM education and they wanted partners and sponsors to have a similar passion. And I did do some research. A few years ago, PITBULL actually opened up a school in his hometown of Miami, Florida, that's focused on sports-themed education. So at least that ties in the sports, that ties in the education aspect. When we step back and look at it, perhaps PITBULL was a perfect partner for Trackhouse. I guess once you do some research, maybe it's not as surprising as it initially appears. But still, this means that in 2021, there will be 2 brand new celebrity team owners in the NASCAR Cup Series. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Jordan, the primary owner of 2311 Racing, and now PITBULL, who's a co-owner. I don't think he's the majority owner or anything, but he's been discussed as like a brand ambassador for the team. Still, he's a co-owner. He's invested in Trackhouse. You got PITBULL, you got Michael Jordan, sports legend, music legend. I'm sure some NASCAR fans are asking, are celebrity team owners good for the sport? Because while Michael Jordan may say that he was a NASCAR fan growing up, and I'm sure he was, and while PITBULL may say that he's seen Days of Thunder, neither of those things immediately qualify you to be a great NASCAR Cup Series team owner. The thing is, I have faith that both of these situations will work out very well because I think both Michael Jordan and PITBULL understand that their job is not to make the day-to-day NASCAR competition related decisions. They've hired, or at least are working with people who are smarter than they are in those those arenas. I mean, Michael Jordan is the majority owner of 23XI Racing, but it seems pretty clear that Denny Hamlin and company are the primary day-to-day operators of the team. I mean, like I said, Pitbull's being described as the team or brand ambassador. He's not going to be, talking to Daniel Suarez about his entry into turn 1. Jordan and Pitbull are meant to be the faces of the organization. They are the ambassadors for their teams and by extension for NASCAR. Their jobs are to appear in advertisements, be a public face of their respective teams, and perhaps most importantly, their job is to reach out to communities that may typically not be fans of NASCAR. NASCAR's latest marketing push has really been that, NASCAR is for everybody. I am NASCAR. You are NASCAR. We are NASCAR. I mean, it's super simple, but that is kind of the ideology that NASCAR is trying to promote the last year or two. Everybody knows that for decades, NASCAR's most ardent supporters typically have been white people from the American South. And while they've been really good to NASCAR and helped foster its growth for decades at this point, I think NASCAR understands that they should be able to branch out and try to appeal to other demographics. And I think when you have Michael Jordan and Bubba Wallace able to uniquely reach black audiences who typically would not consider watching racing or NASCAR, and now you have Pitbull and Daniel Suarez able to reach Latino audiences who also may not typically think of watching NASCAR. Now that you have a couple strongholds there, two very strong combinations that can reach audiences that NASCAR has traditionally not been able to consistently, I think that's really good. And I think that's where Pitbull, Michael Jordan, these celebrity team owners will flourish if they understand that that's their role. Their role is not to handle the day-to-day, is not to talk to their drivers about how the car is handling, is not to try and micromanage the crews or the crew chiefs, which I don't think Jordan or Pitbull will do. As long as they understand their primary role, I think Michael Jordan and Pitbull will be great for NASCAR and for NASCAR's growth and for specifically their respective teams. I think Jordan's going to be great for 23XI Racing. I think he already has been. I think Pitbull becoming a co-owner of Trackhouse is going to be huge for a brand new team that doesn't have quite the same resources that 23XI Racing has. That's going to be huge for that team getting off the ground this year and into the next gen era. I hope it works out. I think these guys understand their role, so I think that it will. I'm really excited. I like Daniel Suarez. He's had a really tumultuous start to his NASCAR Cup Series career. The dude is an Xfinity Series champion. I mean, he was great in 2016. He maybe wasn't the best driver all season long. He wasn't, but he was still really good, and he did win the championship straight up. Trackhouse is a Chevy team. They've got some help from RCR. They've got apparently some funding, especially if Pitbull is involved. Do not count this team out. I'm not saying they're a playoff team. I'm definitely not saying they're a championship team, but do not count this team out. Daniel Suarez, Justin Marks, and Pitbull might build something pretty great here over the next couple seasons. The next gen era is going to change things dramatically, so this is all about positioning yourselves really for 2022, but don't sleep on them in 2021. This is exciting stuff. That's all I've got to talk about in today's episode. I just realized I've been wearing headphones this entire time. I was writing up notes before the episode. I was listening to music. And I totally forgot to take them off, so I hope that didn't distract you. Oh gosh, might as well leave them on at this point. Anyway, thank you all for watching. That's all I've got for today's episode. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. We talk NASCAR almost daily. This week has been extremely busy, and I have a feeling the next few weeks leading up to Daytona will be quite similar. Also, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters as well. Have a great rest of your Friday, everybody. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I will see you all again very, very soon. Stay safe. Take care, y'all.